Welcome to the UAFS Lions Den. I'm Jimmy Haas along with Coach Ryan McAdams. Coach, this team is fun to watch. And again, the Hampton Inn Classic didn't let any of the attendees down because the basketball was good, teams played excellent, and all of the games went right down to the wire.
Yeah, I thought it was a terrific event, once again just hosted by the Hampton Inn, and they did a great job of just being the host hotel and sponsoring the event. We're so thankful to them and their support of our department. As for the basketball games, yeah, we play International on Friday and squeeze it out by 3, and Missouri Southern and Southwest Baptist went down to the last 5 minutes, and that was an 11-point game. Yesterday, Texas A&M International just keeps hanging around. They're really scrappy. They play hard. They made Missouri Southern survive by 3 again, and then we had the best game of the season so far for us yesterday, and just thrilled with just how well we shared the ball and our style of play offensively and our unselfishness. So, 4 really great basketball games, and thankful to have been able to host an event at home and have our home classic.
We're filming this at Randall Ford. They're one of the title sponsors for this year's UA Portsmouth Athletics, and glad to be here. We're just sitting by the campfire. We'll get Justin to get a picture of the campfire in a little bit. But so let's talk a little bit about A&M International. They haven't won a game yet this year, but 3 points on Saturday against you guys, and then Missouri Southern jumped out to a huge lead.
Yep.
And then A&M International just kept full court pressing, and got back in that thing. Actually tied it up in the last minute, and then was defeated by 3. So that's a scrappy team, and that's an old Lone Star conference opponent.
Yeah, Jada Williams is doing a heck of a job. She's in her first year, and they just don't go away. Conference Challenge weekend, last weekend, we spoke to our team just about you just don't know who's what yet. And so, we played a Friday, Saturday last weekend. Friday we were very different than we were the Saturday. And then this weekend the same thing. That was Missouri Southern's 7th game already on Sunday. But, the rest of us are in our early stage of the season, and we're just really figuring out who we are. And, at minimum, if you're playing hard and you're putting yourself in position to make shots and get stops, you're going to have a chance to win games.
So let's talk about the Southwest Baptist game yesterday with the Lions. I made a comment. Bill and I worked the game, and you jumped out. You had 19 points in the first quarter, 16 in the second quarter. Last year, every time we would do the show, we were talking about how close the team was to playing a complete game. This was a complete game because you come out 31 in the third quarter. I think that's probably the highest quarter that you've had.
I would imagine.
Since you've been here?
Yeah, I would imagine.
And now you can see how it's all come full circle.
Yeah, and I just love how we shared the ball. We were talking before we went on camera. I mean, Morgan Browning had a 1 for 10 night from the floor, which oftentimes I call this the Sports Center generation. It's hard for kids to play through offensive woes. But she was a plus 20 in the plus minus category, even shooting in that way. So that shows that she continued to facilitate and do the right things offensively. That shows that she continued to defend. And that's been our challenge to our kids, especially the new kids. Your Olivia Johnsons, your Lane Kirkendalls, your Talisha Browns, the kids that are your Sophia McNabbs, who stepped in huge yesterday with Mackenzie Piper out. She stepped in as the first 4 player off the bench to spell Hannah. And, the new kids, it's all about your response. It's all about your ability to continue to play through offensive difficulties, because we all want to score. We all want to shine. We all want that stuff to be, what we hope it is. But if it's not, who are you then? Are you going to rebound? Are you going to box out? We're playing a 6'6" kid. You got to keep her off the glass whether you're making shots or not. So, I just thought offensively the third quarter was a breakout quarter for us, but consistently, like you said, I think throughout the entire game we just played really unselfish basketball.
So you were playing a team that had 15 players on it. 10 of those players will not be back next year. They're all seniors or grad. Only 5 of them, were not seniors. So a lot of experience on the team with Southwest. Plus you had 6'6" Tori Hamilton. Good ball player, coming averaging almost 13 points a game. You shut her down, you frustrated her. She she was frustrated, and I talked to her folks after the ball game, and they said, you know what, they played her perfect. They kept her frustrated, kept her off balance all night long. I thought that was a great compliment coming from the parents.
Yeah, we'll take that. I think the early foul trouble really helped us a lot. And I will say this, that our point of attack defense is what sets the entire tone for our group, right? So, when you have Zaniah Thomas and you have Talisha Brown platooning each other at the point guard position and rattling the opposing point guards, which they've done consistently now for a few games, and just making it more difficult to get into your offense as a team, that's something that we pride ourselves on. And they do a terrific job of just being aggressive and being pesky or just, physical. And then, she was obviously a huge concentration and focus for us in our shoot around. No turnaround, right? No practice between games.
Right.
You're walking through the morning of and after having played a game the night before, which was ugly and not great, but was a win. And so, like I say, I think the kids really they sold out in help side. They sat on the back side and took lobs away. And then, we are really, really fortunate to have Sinitra Jones and Lane Kirkendall, who, are as long and as athletic as they are, but they decide, at times to just be really physical and really play. And so, we're working on consistency in that area with both of them. But last night they stepped up to the challenge for sure.
Hannah Boyette.
Yeah.
That's all you have to say.
Yeah.
Hannah Boyette. She was busting them from outside, made it easier for Kirkendall and Sinitra on the inside, because then the teams actually had to come out on her. Yeah. And you could see the focus was increased after she hit her first three.
Yeah.
And after that, it was inside-outside game.
Yeah, and she's just an emotional leader for us. She just has a whole lot of mental toughness that drives our group. She's played through quite a bit of adversity off the floor, and so she's, just the fact that she's out there doing what she's doing is impressive. And then when she's performing the way she's performing, she starts the international game with 3 threes and a free throw. Yesterday she goes 5 for 9 from 3. I'm about ready to ask Justin to submit her for MIAA Player of the Week. She's just a kid who, she generates energy, even if it's chippy energy defensively. She's physical and, she just has a way about her that kind of just keeps you on edge, and she supports her teammates, and she's performing right now. She's making shots. She's also what we call hitting the single. When she makes plays, I made the point the other day in film to my team that anytime she picks up her dribble, you better watch out, because she's got about 8,000 different options going through her head before she passes the ball. And if your hands and feet aren't ready, you're going to take it right in the face if you're not careful. And so she's that good of a passer. She's that high of a basketball intellect and IQ that she just plays so intricately and so intellectually. And so there are times I have to scale that back. I just have to beg her to just hit the single, what we call hit the single, which is make the easy, hit the open, and don't try to thread the needle, don't try to make the hard play. And when she's doing that, we are so much better because she causes so much havoc to the other team. You got 2-3 people running at her. When she hits 1 or 2, all of a sudden the whole team has her targeted, and now anytime she catches, they're aware, and that makes everybody else a better player. So, yeah, she had a heck of a weekend. We're really thrilled with how she's shooting the ball. We hope to continue building her confidence.
Hampton Classic, great success at UA Fort Smith. You have a week off now.
Yeah.
You'll be playing Saturday, 1 o'clock.
Yeah.
Single game.
Yeah.
Southeastern Oklahoma State. What do you know about this team coming in?
I know that he's a heck of a coach. Darren Grover does a great job. I know that they've been challenging in the GAC for, a while. I know that he does things the right way. I honestly haven't looked at their team yet. We've been, working. We just finished 5 games in 10 days. I told my team, I don't know who scheduled that, but we found a way to make it through that juggernaut to open the season at 4-1, and now we can breathe a little bit. Kids are off today. They need to rest and prepare for, a good week of practice. They need to catch up in class. They need to get some, do some things. And then, we'll really dive in. It is nice to have some time. Normally I'm not a huge full week of practice guy at this point in the year. It's hard to keep the kids motivated, but coming out of the stretch we just did, I'm fully confident that the kids could use some rest, but they're ready to, we have some things we need to work on in the lab and practice, and we'll be ready by Saturday. But yeah, we're an exciting brand right now. We move the ball. We have some kids who can play. and get downhill and create driving lanes and share it. And the level of unselfishness on the court last night, wearing, our uniform, was probably one of the best displays of our offensive system that I've had in my 4 years. And so, as a fan, if you're contemplating, if you're wondering, I think that you would be pleasantly surprised if you came out and watched this play Saturday.
So I talked to some of the folks at Eastern New Mexico and out in West Texas. They said they miss you. So if you guys want to do a road trip and you want to go play them,
that's okay, Jimmy.
They're fine with that.
Jimmy, we'll send you out as our representative. You go ahead and just glad hand everybody. Make sure they hear our hellos. But yeah, we're good. I was joking with Ronnie Russell of Missouri Southern yesterday. He just had a 2-hour ride back home. And from a great weekend of basketball for his team. In their 6th and 7th games of the year. So. We're home Saturday. The following week, we drive 3 hours to Springfield and play at Classic and Drury. We are heavily regional for the time being, and we're happy with that.
Great start to the season, Coach.
Thanks.
Fun team to watch.
Appreciate it.
Look forward to seeing you on Saturday
at
the Stubblefield. 1 o'clock tip-off, so bring the entire family. Not a lot of money for great entertainment, and you can spend the afternoon at the Stubblefield Center as Southeastern Oklahoma State will be in town for a single game on Saturday. Coach, I will see you next week. Hey, don't forget, coming up, Coach Zane Gibson. He'll be joining us in the Lions Den. We're going to take a quick timeout. We'll be back right after this. Welcome back to the Lions Den. I'm Jimmy Haas with Coach Zane Gibson. And sitting by the fire. Of course, Justin will get a picture of that sooner or later. We're at Randall Ford, one of the title sponsors for the UAFS. There you go, Justin. Get the see, kind of cozy and warm. But we'll be down at Randall Ford every week filming the Lions Den. So come down and see us anytime. I know that they would appreciate the business. I know I sure would. Coach, your team's exciting, off to a great start. You played a team that you just played a few days ago in Harding, and it's always tough.
Yeah, it is. It's not easy to play a team twice in 8 days. It's also not easy to play a team twice in 8 days that presses you for 40 straight minutes and It disjoints the games. And give them credit. Thought we had a really good crowd on the toy toss, but they had an excellent crowd for their home opener versus yesterday. It was tough to communicate. Also, you get that home court advantage as far as, you feel the crowd, you feel the emotion, energizes you, et cetera, and they kind of fed off of it from time to time. And it was a good experience to get our guys on a true road test, knowing what we're going to go play versus in the MIAA. But yeah, they were picked 4th in their league. They're a good team. They are hard to scheme against because of the press and because they run a Princeton-style offense. And both of those are different than maybe a fewer generalization, a defense or an offense that you're going to play throughout the year. And then, they had a couple kids get really hot and going, and we turned the ball over and didn't do all the things you have to do to win on the road.
So, physical game, anytime that you have a team playing in full court with a full court press, it's always going to be physical. A lot of grabbing, a lot of reaching, by the defense that's trying to stop you. And that's never easy, especially when there is as much atmosphere from the crowd. So, yeah, that's tough. It's going to be tough on your forwards and your guards.
Yeah, it just wears you down. And sometimes, you might not turn it over, or your turnover might not occur versus the press, but you're just – it's like that gnat that's around you. You're just so tired of that gnat that then you make a mistake in the half court that you might not normally make. So, again, we got them on the neutral court. We lost at their place. We're not happy about that, but we just need to have a good week of practice because we have another really good team coming in here on Friday in SNU, who's kind of been the ring bearer in the GAC over the last 5 or 6 years. So it'll be a great test. Hopefully we have a really good crowd, and it'll be a game that hopefully our guys are ready for here in the next 5 days.
So, the good thing about it is you're getting to play some teams that are non-conference that are not just a million miles away. Teams actually getting to sleep in their own beds, practice on their own floor, and then it's a nice bus ride.
Yeah.
Instead of having to make it a 2-day bus ride.
Yeah.
Just to get someplace to play. So there is one advantage to this, and then conference play.
Yeah.
It'll be here before we know it.
Yeah, no, and both of our road games, which obviously our challenge is not a road game, it's neutral site games. But we were home at about 7:30 last night. Now obviously the staff stayed up and worked for a good part of that evening, but the fact that our guys can get back to their beds at a decent time over the long haul, I think is going to help us a lot. Through physical fatigue, through mental fatigue. Being on that bus for hour upon hour upon hour, it wears on you over the course of the year. And so I'm hoping that will allow us to stay fresher longer. And so those were positives. And, kind of how we have the schedule set up is we went on our challenge and we played at Harding. We have one more road game this semester, and then we're at home the rest of the semester.
Right.
So now, obviously, we had nothing to do with the fact that the league gave us 2 home games on this side of Christmas. But it just plays into the fact that we'll be home during the entire month of December, and hopefully that allows us to get good rhythm and again stay fresh as we get deeper and deeper and deeper into the season.
As much as we like to focus on the athletic side of it, and I'm guilty of it. I forget these are student athletes, and they still have to do all of their classwork, whether they're at home or whether they're on the road.
Yeah.
So it does make it easier for them to be able to get the paper in and do the studying for a test that's coming up in lab. So it's more of a luxury now, and if I know anything about this team, I know that they're enjoying this a lot better than some of the trips that they had to take last year.
Yeah, it's cool to be on a bus for a little bit, but you don't really want to be on there for more than half a day.
Right.
And we don't have to experience that too many times. And you're right. Obviously we want to win basketball games more than anybody, but we want to make sure these kids are alumni of UAFS, and they can only do that or become that by completing their classwork and completing it at a satisfactory level. And so, when we got home last night, the only thing we told them was like, hey, there's a lot of stuff they're due on Sunday evenings. Let's make sure we don't miss anything. And you got time. It's 7:30, 8 o'clock. You have 4 hours if you're putting something off. Whereas if we were coming back from an 8 or 9 hour road trip, if our Wi-Fi is down on the bus or whatnot, then guys could possibly miss assignments, and we certainly don't want any of that ever.
Right. 2-2 on the year. Couple of the 2 losses extremely close. I mean, the second half of the Harding game yesterday, you outscored Harding 44-39. So it's and this team's exciting to watch. I mean, you look at Wilson. Wilson's a ball player.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, great recruit. This kid can play, and Lewis. And then I was looking at Bell. Bell had 11 rebounds yesterday. It's a fun team to watch.
Yeah, we have ability for sure. What we don't have right now is to win road games or to win close games. You have to do the little things to get you over the top. And the turnovers are the biggest thing yesterday, and then we didn't make our free throws. If we just have done one or the other, the game probably is a different outcome. And both the losses, we've had shots to tie the game with under 20 seconds. Obviously Tyler had one versus Ouachita, and BJ had one yesterday versus Harding, and they just didn't go in. But that's not why you win or loss. You win or loss because of the duration of the game. And right now, turnovers are something that's really kind of kicking us in the side because we're shooting decent percentages. We're not shooting outstanding percentages, but decent enough where if you just get 6 or 7 more possessions, and I know that sounds like a lot, but when you're turning the ball over 16 times a game right now, if you cut that down to 10, you get 6 more possessions, and you make, we're shooting 45% right now from the floor, so you're making basically half of those. I mean, that's 6 or 7 more points during the game, and that can be the difference in single possession games versus Ouachita versus Harding, where the outcome could be different if we just can take care of the basketball.
Coach, what are we looking at Friday? You've got a single game at Stubblefield, 5:30 tip-off, mm-hmm. So an early Friday, basically Friday afternoon into the evening game. Southern Nazarene coming in. What are you looking at as far as that matchup? Yeah,
they're good. They've started off 1-0. They've only played one game, but they beat a MIAA team. They beat Northeastern. They are typical Southern Naz. They're got dynamic guards. They got some good size. Again, that's a program that has won the GAC probably 4 or 5 times out of the last 6 or 7 years. That's why we wanted to schedule them to, again, make sure that we're challenging ourselves in the non-conference. It'll be a tough test for us. But in this part of the season, it's still more about us developing than necessarily our opponents. As we get deeper into the season, as your team kind of gets fixed into their mold, then it does turn more into the scouts and things like that. Not that we're not scouting them, because obviously we are. We spent a lot of time on them last night. But we have to keep improving. We can't be settled or satisfied with what our current status is as players or as a team. We have to keep growing. And if we do that, that'll give us a great chance to be successful, not only in the game Friday, but just moving forward. And if we don't, we'll struggle. So we know it's a really, really big week of practice for us, and a really big week with a game concluding on Friday.
Coach Zane Gibson join us with the Lions Den. Coach, what's been the biggest surprise for you on this team so far? Maybe individual player, maybe something that they've done, maybe something outside the realm of basketball.
Well, here's what they're all actually pretty fun to be around. It's not necessarily fun to be around anybody after a loss, but, I have really enjoyed being around the guys so far this year. That would be something that maybe you can't see. From a surprise aspect point, I think we did a really good job of knowing what we had recruited. And so I feel good. Like, I'm not getting surprised in a negative way on really any of the guys. They're kind of doing what I thought they would do. Now we just got to put it together. But I would tell you these are actually a lot of fun guys to be around. They've got good personalities. They make it fun coming to the gym. And now I just want them to have some success. I want them to reap the rewards of trying to do the right things and being successful on the floor.
Coach, you have a week to get ready. It's kind of nice being home, having a week this time of year.
Yep.
Holidays will be here. I know the kids will be thinking about that. That's always a distraction for basketball teams. But, so far, they stayed focused. They played some really good teams and played some really exciting games.
Yeah, no, I hope we keep doing that. And I think it'll break our way eventually, but we just got to keep chopping wood right now and not lose sight of that it's a process all the time. It's a process. It's a process. You can't be result-oriented. You have to be process-oriented, and that starts with, our practice tomorrow.
Yeah, it's going to be fun.
Yeah.
Hey, come see us at the Stubblefield Center. Single game on Friday. 5:30, Southern Nazarene in town. Then the ladies play on Saturday at 1 o'clock tip-off. Make it both days. Have some friends and family come in from out of town. Great way to entertain them for not a lot of money. Get your tickets online. Come to the gym. Hang out with us and enjoy some Lions basketball. For Coach Zane Gibson and Jimmy Haas, you joined us on the Lions Dens. I'm stuttering and stammering around today. I'm pretty excited. And this is early season, but I'm excited about both of these teams.
Yeah.
You guys bring it to the court, and it's fun to watch. It's a fun brand of basketball, and winning some games, and it's always fun to watch when a good team takes the court that has character and determination. And you guys have it, Coach. I appreciate y'all.
Thanks.
Hey, tune in next week. We'll have more on the Lions Den from Randall Ford. Hey, we're in the middle of the Lions Den, everyone, at Randall Ford, UA Fort Smith Lions Den. We've already talked to Coach Zane Gibson. We've talked to Coach Ryan McAdams. I've got Chris Davis from Randall Ford, one of the sales managers, and Chris, Randall Ford jumped on board this year. They reached out to the university, and they wanted to be a title sponsor. You guys are always supporting local.
Well, sure. We love to be part of the community. That's really important to us. We've been here for over 100 years, fourth oldest dealership in the nation. So, you don't just get there by just flying by night and doing, whatever the fad is at the time. We support our community. It's important to us. This month, we've also got Trucks Giving going,
right,
which for every new vehicle we sell this month, Randall Ford is donating a turkey to the Community Services Clearinghouse in that customer's name, because we want to make sure that everybody needs a good meal on Thanksgiving. Right. We want to make sure that happens.
Now, one of the cool things this past weekend, we had Kisser Radio out here, and one of the prizes that we're giving away was a vegetarian turkey dinner.
We were doing that, so yeah. We want to make sure that in today's society there are all different populations out there. We want to make sure that the people out there know that Randall Ford has something for everybody.
My wife was really excited because she's vegetarian, so it was perfect.
Yeah.
So, this month at Randall, we have over 200 new vehicles. It's a luxury that we haven't had in a long time.
We do. Production was down for a while. Now that Ford has ramped it up, we've got new vehicles. We're taking advantage of that. We're making sure it's not the biggest lot here, Jimmy. You know that. So you can walk from one end to the other. It's kind of like a wire. You can walk from one side to the other. So we only have so much room here. We can't keep stacking these new vehicles, so we have to move them out. that means that you guys get some great savings on that. Right now, we've got 11% off.
Right. Any deal be turned away?
We are not turning deal away. I'm glad you led to that. So we're on the same page on that, because our little promotion here this month is November to remember, because we're not saying no.
Excellent. Hey, come see us. Chris will be here. I'll be here. Come see us at UA Fort Smith as well. You'll see the Randall Ford banners up everywhere. Thanks for being a part of the Lions Den. For Chris Davis, I'm Jimmy Haas. We'll see you next week.